Welcome back to another episode of Out Loud Geek, where we discuss news and views about pop culture, science fiction, fantasy, food, cooking, the outdoors, and more. It's time, once again, for another depressing dose of dismal Disney. It's been a few months since the last time that I talked about the wrongful termination lawsuit that Gina Carano filed against Disney and LucasFilm earlier this year. And several things have occurred since then. But before proceeding, I'd like to ask everyone to please like this video, please share the video on social media, please subscribe to support this channel, and please press the bell to receive notifications. Thanks! But let's take a moment to refresh our minds about what occurred. In a very inappropriate and deliberately humiliating manner, Disney and Lucasfilm fired Gina Carano on February 10th, 2021 via social media. Instead of having HR handle the situation privately, Disney and Lucasfilm not only wanted to make a public example of Gina Carano, they wanted to destroy her acting career as well. But then on February 6th, 2024, billionaire Elon Musk funded Gina Carano to file a wrongful termination lawsuit against the Walt Disney Company, Lucasfilm, and Huckleberry Industries. And both Lucasfilm and Huckleberry Industries are subsidiaries of Disney. Then, after Carano had filed her lawsuit, Disney attempted to have the case dismissed, claiming that the company had First Amendment rights to fire her, which is the same reasoning that Disney had tried to use in its failed attempt to sue Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in a case that was dismissed just before Carano filed her lawsuit, as I had talked about in a video that I had released at the time. And some of the attorneys who were involved in that failed case against DeSantis are the same ones who are representing Disney against Carano and trying to use an already failed strategy. In fact, it was in June when the judge, who is presiding over Gina Carano's wrongful termination lawsuit, had expressed skepticism about Disney's ability to use the First Amendment to have the case dismissed. And on July 25th, that same judge denied Disney's request to dismiss Gina Carano's lawsuit, which means that a trial can now proceed to include discovery. And as a consequence, a number of people may now have to testify in court, as shared by The Hollywood Reporter on July 30th in an article entitled "Gina Carano Calls for Pedro Pascal and Kathleen Kennedy to Testify Over Mandalorian Firing." And the subtitle reads, "The actress claimed that Disney discriminated against her by turning a blind eye to politically charged posts from her male co-stars." And that's exactly what Disney did, because Disney applies a double standard. Gina Carano's legal battle over her firing from The Mandalorian could feature a star-studded cast of witnesses, including Pedro Pascal, Jon Favreau, and ex-Disney chief executive Bob Chapek. I would absolutely love to see former Disney CEO Bob Chapek, who was fired by Disney's current board of directors, have to testify in court about Carano being fired. He could even talk about his own firing under oath, and that would indeed be entertaining. In a joint filing from the ex-MMA fighter and Disney, Carano pointed to those names as potential witnesses that could be called to testify in her case. She also included Bear Grylls, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy, and Lynn Hale, the engineer of the publicity campaign behind Star Wars. And we'll see in a short while why Bear Grylls is a potential witness. The July 26 court document previews issues to be raised in the trial, tentatively scheduled for September 25, 2025, such as whether Carano was under contract on February 10, 2021, when Disney purportedly terminated her for voicing right-wing opinions on social media. Another contested issue is whether Carano was treated differently than her male co-stars. In her lawsuit filed in February, she alleged that Disney and Lucasfilm turned a blind eye to others who she said made offensive and denigrating posts directed toward Republicans, while she was allegedly fired for her cultural and religious beliefs. She pointed to Pascal's 2017 post comparing former President Donald Trump to a very evil historic former political leader of the country of Germany. Other posts from Pascal cited in the lawsuit include one of him comparing the United States' response to those entering the country illegally to Germany's concentration camps. So in other words, Disney allows its cast members to speak their minds on social media as long as it's what the company wants to hear. But if a cast member speaks their mind and the company doesn't like it, then they'll probably be fired, just like Gina Carano was. The Mandalorian creator Jon Favreau, meanwhile, would presumably be called to testify on whether Disney greenlit plans for a new spin-off series entitled Rangers of the New Republic that would have featured Carano's Cara Dune as one of its lead characters. Kennedy in 2020 confirmed production of the title. And here's the December 10th, 2020 article from The Hollywood Reporter about Kathleen Kennedy's announcement about the show Rangers of the New Republic at a Disney investors meeting. It was also when she announced several other shows, which included Ahsoka and The Acolyte, and that included calling out Leslie Headland's name, and we all know how that show turned out. But now let's find out about Bear Grylls. Grylls may be called to testify over allegations that Disney pulled an episode of Running Wild with Bear Grylls that featured Carano after she was terminated. It's very clear that Disney adopted a scorched earth policy when it came to anything involving Gina Carano, with the exception of The Mandalorian due to the show's popularity, though toy figures of Carano's character of Cara Dune were pulled from stores. In the filing, Disney pushed back on Carano's list of witnesses while saying that it may call Lucasfilm VP of Animation and Live Action Development Carrie Beck and Disney Executive VP of Communications Paul Roeder to testify. And that's fine because they will get to be cross-examined by Carano's attorneys. The development comes after a federal judge last week rebuffed Disney's bid to dismiss the lawsuit. U.S. District Judge Sherilyn Peace Garnett rejected arguments that Carano's discrimination claims are barred by the First Amendment, finding that the actress may have been terminated from the series in retaliation for holding disfavored political beliefs. And that's exactly what it was: retaliation. Disney had argued that it was entitled to protect its speech in the Star Wars series from association with views that it and many viewers considered offensive and contrary to its message, which it said includes respect, integrity, and inclusion. And just how many viewers agree with Disney's political messaging? Disney doesn't provide any evidence to support that a majority of its viewers agree 100% with its preferred political point of view. And as far as respect, integrity, and inclusion go, how respectful and inclusive was it for Disney to fire Gina Carano due to her personal views? And how can Disney claim integrity when it blatantly demonstrated that it does not include or respect anyone who doesn't completely agree with its political messaging? Disney's own actions prove that it reserves respect and inclusion only towards individuals that totally agree with its political messaging, and there is zero integrity in that. Disney's interpretation of what respect, integrity, and inclusion mean comes directly from the woke identity politics ideology, which, as I have talked about in other videos, is completely contrary to basic business acumen. Had Disney and Lucasfilm produced Rangers of the New Republic, starring Gina Carano, it would likely have been about as popular on the Disney Plus streaming service as the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian were. But they instead fired Gina Carano, canceled Rangers of the New Republic, and produced Leslie Headland's very woke garbage show The Acolyte that demonstrably has the lowest streaming viewership numbers of any Star Wars series produced by Lucasfilm under Kathleen Kennedy. That, in of itself, is another prime example of how contradictory it is to push an ideology over and above basic business acumen interests. And how is that working out for Disney's investors who voted to keep the same mob of idiots on Disney's board of directors? My. Disney stock has tumbled downwards by 30 points, or 25%, since that fateful investor vote in April. And as I said at the time, I hope Disney's investors love losing their money. But let's finish this article. With her ousting from the Star Wars universe, Carano potentially lost out on millions of dollars. The standard contract for a series regular on other spin-offs is for roughly 6 years at a base salary beginning at $150,000 to $250,000 per episode, with each season consisting of up to 10 episodes. So 10 episodes for 6 years could be 60 episodes, and at that price, Gina Carano lost out on as much as $9 million to $15 million. So yes, that's a lot of money. My hope is that Gina Carano will win her lawsuit against Disney, who I am sure is now trying to come up with some kind of deal with her to avoid going to an actual trial, which, if that happens, would garner even more negative publicity for the company. Thanks for watching today, and a huge thanks to everyone who has subscribed to our channel. We appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, and please feel free to share a comment. If you'd like to help support this channel, please press the red subscribe button, and please press the bell to receive notifications for new content. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter by clicking on the links in the description. Until next time, this is Out Loud Geek.